Let's warm it up. Find the slope between each set of coordinates. Remember the slope formula. You subtract your y's in the numerator and the x's in the denominator. So let's just set up some blanks here. Let's find all our y's first. So our y's on number 1 would be 1 and 1. On 2 would be 4 and 2. And on this one would be -2 and 2. So we just have to make sure when we put in the x's, we put them in the same order we put the y's. So here 1 and 1, it didn't make a difference. 3 and 2. Here we did 4 first, 2 second, so we have to do 3 minus 1. And here we did -2 minus 2, so we have to do 0 minus 0. Okay, 1 minus 1 is 0, 3 minus 2 is 1, 0 divided by anything is 0. 4 minus 2 is 2, 3 minus 1 is 2, and 2 over 2 is 1. -2 minus 2 is -4, 0 minus 0 is 0. When you have 0 in the denominator, remember you say that is undefined. Which means if it was graphed, then these would be in a vertical line with each other like that. All right, we're going to talk about function notation today. This is essentially the same as like y equals mx plus b, but y often gets replaced with f of x. It'll say like f and then parentheses x. That's just called function notation. They mean the same thing, but you know how when you're given y equals 3x plus 7, then they're like, okay, well, if you put in 1 for x, what do you get out? And you'd say 3 times 1 is 3 plus 7 is 10. That's great, and that works. With function notation, you write it like this. You'd say f of, and then what you're inputting for x. So we're putting in 1 for x, and then you replace every x with a 1. You substitute that in. Now you don't really do anything with the left side of the equation. Your final answer will say f of 1 equals 10, like that. That's how you don't change the left side of the equation. It's just notation. It's just function notation. It's how they write it. So let's try it with my buddy Paulo. Paulo works at a local store. Each week he earns a $300 salary plus a 3% commission on his sales. Write a function rule that relates his total earnings to sales. So you can use any variables, but let's use earnings and sales. So let's say E, earnings of S, sales. Again, doesn't matter what you use here. You can use f of x every time if you like. But he gets that $300 no matter what. It doesn't matter what he does with his sales, he gets the $300. But he also gets more money, plus he gets 3% of his sales. Now, if we're doing that in decimal form, 3% is 0.03 times his amount of sales. So there could be a function here. Find Paulo's earnings for 1 week if his sales are $2,500. So this is what we're going to put in for S. So we'll say E is earnings with $2,500 of sales. And then we just substitute that in every time we see an S, which is right here. So we say 300 plus 0.03 times 2,500. 1% would be $25, so 3% would be $75. So you get $300 plus his $75 commission, so you earn $375. I want to double check that. I'd hate to have that wrong on these notes for you. Let's see, 0.03 times 2,500. All right, $75. Cool. We've got another one down here. Scrumptious snack mix is sold by mail order. It costs $3 a pound plus $4 for shipping and handling. Doesn't matter how much you order, you just have to pay the $4 one time. Write a function rule for the total cost, C of P, based on the number of pounds P bought. So P is our pounds. So we'll say C of P equals, and how would we calculate how much it's going to cost? Well, you have to pay the $4 of shipping, plus you also have to pay the $3 per pound. So we'll say 3P plus $4 shipping and handling. Use your function to find the total cost of 5 pounds. So C of 5 equals 3 times 5 plus 4. 3 times 5 is 15 plus 4 would give us 19. So C of 5, again, we don't do anything with that, equals $19. Write a rule for the linear function in the table below. Here's what I like to do. I like to think of this in slope-intercept. I like to fill in our blanks. So the first blank we're going to fill out is our slope. And slope, remember, is your rise over run, or it's your change in y over change in x, because you're subtracting the y's, you're subtracting the x's. F of x is the same as y. So let's figure out how much these are changing by. And you can pick any set. So if we went from 1 to 7, that increased 6. But we do that over how much the y, or how much the x's changed. They went from 0 to 2, which is up 2. So 6 divided by 2 is 3. That's the slope. And it would work with any set of these coordinates. If you did -5 to positive 13, that's up 18, as this went from -2 to positive 4, which is up 6. 18 divided by 6 still gives you 3. Great. Then we have to figure out what the y-intercept would be. Now, this is where we're going to choose one of our coordinates to substitute in. So we can choose anything. We can choose the coordinate 2, 7. Now, 2 is your x. So it would be like 3 times 2 plus something gives us our y-coordinate of 7. 3 times 2 is 6. 6 plus what would give us 7? And 6 plus 1. So that's our y-intercept. Huh? Also, anytime you're given 0, whatever's in the y column would be your y-intercept. I just didn't want to give that away too quickly. So again, you're looking for the slope first, and then you find your y-intercept. So pick a set. This one's going up 2, as this one goes up 1. So our slope is 2. So y equals 2x, and then if we chose 0 to put in, 2 times 0 is 0. We need to end up at 0, so we don't need to add anything to it. That would be our final function. On this one, again, we choose any set. This one went from 6 to 0, so it went down 6. As this one went from -3 to 0, which is up 3. -6 divided by 3 is -2. So we can start with y equals -2x. We pick a set, we plug them in. If we pick 0 to put in for x, -2 times 0 is 0. And we need to end up at 0. So we don't need to do anything to it. Make sure it works for all of them. Is -2 times 6 -12? Yep. -2 times 3 -6? Yep. -3 times -2 is positive 6. Works for all of them. All right, so if we look here, from -7 to -3 is going up 4. This went from -4 to -2, which is up 2. 4 over 2 is 2. So we're starting with y equals 2x. Pick a set, and let's see what we are missing here. If we pick 0, because it's the easiest, 2 times 0 is 0, but we need to end up at 1. So we need to add 1. That's it. Double check it somewhere else. 2 times -6 is -12, plus 1 is -11. 2 times -4 is -8, plus 1 is -7. It works for all of them. And the last one, we kind of did this when we did slope-intercept form. Write the rule when you're given a graph. We'll start with this one just because I'm over there already. So we need to figure out the y-intercept and slope. This one crosses at 2, so we know our y-intercept is 2. And see, it goes down and to the right, so that means our slope is negative. Just pick any 2 points. If we use the 2 points they mark for us, that's down 3 over 3. Negative 3 over 3 is negative 1. We just write that as negative x plus 2. Last one. Y-intercept here, it crosses at negative 1. So y equals something x minus 1. And then slope-wise, it's up 2 over 4. And 2 over 4 reduces to 1/2. That is our slope. And it's so much fun.